What is up, guys? My name is Wenster. Welcome back to The Average Fighter. So today we got a special discussion for you, but before we get into all of that, I do appreciate every single one of you coming back and watching these videos and subscribing. You guys have been killing it. We're almost to the 500 sub goal. We just need a few more. If you guys could find it in your heart to get us to that giveaway. So I want to set a light goal for this video. I haven't really done so in the past. If you guys could get the video to 25 likes, I would appreciate it. Like it down below, kill that button, just mash it like you mash the fighting games. But without further ado, let's just jump into today's video. But like I said, today is a very special episode. We have our wonderful guest, Nam, right here. A sexy beast, look at him.
What's going on, guys?
Introduce yourself, let them know a little bit about yourself.
You talk about me in your video. My name's Ninja Nam, Marvel Infinite player. I'm just here to talk about some Marvel.
So today we're going to be talking about the meta for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. And I just wanted to bring another person along. We're just going to break it down in a couple segments. We're going to do a clear-cut definition of the meta in the Marvel Infinite, or what meta means, where the meta is at currently right now with the certain characters, certain gameplay, and certain tactics being used, and where we think the meta is going to go in the future. At the end, we are going to give our personal thoughts or anything along those lines. Enough talking about it, let's get into these points. Before we even jump into the meta, I don't want to go anywhere without explaining what it actually is, giving an actual definition of what meta means for you guys. So we went on Urban Dictionary.
I actually do not know the real definition of meta, so please enlighten us.
The meta definition, abbreviation of the most effective tactic available, mostly used when comparing tactics in a game, but can be used in other things as well. It can change over time as new tactics are explored, or it can be changed by changing rules of the game or availability of new resources. Let's say if the current meta, I'm giving an example, in Marvel Infinite is, you know, get a hard knockdown and then dash back with Dante and then do $1 million and then tag, or any kind of combination of that where you lock down your opponent's character and then tag, that's the current meta right now. What do you think?
Is a meta, or I should say was the meta. Super tag is very strong still, and it's not that it's not strong now, and it doesn't have to be limited to hard knockdown, right? Okay. Because let's say with Dante you could do heavy super tag as a block string, and that works too.
And that's just a very basic definition. I just wanted to make sure we make it as easy as possible to understand. When it comes to meta, I definitely wanted to talk about how it was developed for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. I feel like Nam has a really good explanation about this, so we'll just let him go from here.
On the most basic aspect of the meta when it comes to Marvel versus games is that team composition is probably the foundation of the meta. I don't know if you would agree. When
it comes to like team composition, yeah, because you have point characters and then you got support characters, and then you just add their specific traits to the team, thus your game plan.
That's exactly how the meta was first developed for Marvel Infinite, in that when you create a team, you have to be thinking about composition of how the synergy will flow together. So, for example, a pretty clear-cut definition of a team composition would be support and point character. And a support character helps with lockdown, neutral, and overall just, you know, whatever synergy is there. And a point character is mostly used for mix-ups. Movement overall is that character is like doing the damage, right? So, for example, I would call my team a very fundamentally basic team of that meta, which is Doctor Strange is considered a support character. The moment he forces the opponent to block, I bring in my point character, which is Nova. And Nova can go in for the mix-up, right? So that would be one of the most basic examples of a meta for the team for people to be choosing. There's a lot of different ways to create teams, and it's not just locked down to that. And I would say at first that was what everyone was kind of gravitated towards, because it was very clear cut and, you know, the most basic form of team composition.
As far as like your personal plan, how do you use the most basic of meta? How do you apply it to your specific team? You don't know what you guys play. You guys could play the best characters in the game. You guys could be playing the shittiest characters in the game, like Ryu. I'm sorry, it's just how things are. But how do you effectively work the system in your favor? Going off what Nam said earlier, having a specific game plan for each character, but at the same time trying to develop certain tactics like a block string, and then tagging, and then getting your point character out and then mixing them up, getting the combo, and then just snowballing from there. I think that's going to be the easiest way. I think with your specific characters, whatever you play, put out a normal and try to do a move afterwards. Your opponent's characters are blocking, and once they are blocking, they can't tag. Then you could tag your point character in and then go for mix-ups. What do you think?
I think that one of the most basic tactics for this meta is obviously in this 2v2 game, you want to eliminate one character soon as possible, because when you have a team, you're at 100% full force. But when you lose a character, it's not just 50%, right? You lose access to a lot of things. You lose access to tagging, you lose access to counter switching, you lose access to damage. On the flip side, you also want to hold on to your team as long as you can. When we talk about the meta in terms of resource management, you do get meter a lot in this game, and spending supers does a lot of damage. However, when you think about where you are in the current game, let's say a character is bleeding, you're spending meter willy-nilly. If that specific bleeding character gets hit on the screen, you can't save them. When you approach the game and you think about the meta in terms of wanting to keep your team alive versus eliminating their team, then you maybe might want to think about, should I hold on to my meter just in case my character gets hit?
And having that game plan right there, I think, is the greatest way to start understanding and developing your own game plan when you are playing Marvel Infinite, if anyone was struggling out there. So now that we all have a better understanding of meta, where it's at, how do we apply it to our own game plan, and it's just a clear-cut definition, we're going to be talking about the current meta right now with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite.
When we're talking about the current meta for Marvel Infinite, a few things need to be stated. Of course, team composition. Let's just say that, you want to have a support and you want to have a point. The second part is how you want to approach your team and what you do with that team. Overall, the third part is how your team gets benefits from their hits. When you get a hit with your team and you've earned that hit, you really want to go far with it. Let's just use an example using someone's team, Dante and Hawkeye, right? Dual Kevin has a team where you can point out the point and the support. Who's the support character?
I'm gonna go with Hawkeye.
Pretty good. And I think the other character, Dante, might be doing the mix-up. So Hawkeye will provide the lockdown, the neutral, and the moment that you're locked down by the arrows, they'll tag in Dante, and Dante will do the mix-up. When we talk about the second point of the meta, which is to how to eliminate a team member, you're doing your combos, but you have to be aware that your opponent will try to counter switch, right? Okay. So the current meta is to either do a reset, or you can end your combo early for an Oki mix-up for set play, and then on that hit, you do as much damage as you can, but you don't want to go past a certain threshold, and that threshold is right before they gain 2 meters. When you reach that point, either you'll end your combo again, or you can just cash out on the damage. That's going to put the opponent in a very difficult situation, because now they have a character who's near death. They have to spend the meter to bring out the other character, but that's also kind of risky. You're losing meter and your assist character is still out there because they're still recovering. When we talked about Dante and Hawkeye, when Hawkeye or Dante gets the hit, they'll do a combo, and Hawkeye will, do poison tip or whatever it may be, and they're going to drain as much health as possible, but they're not going to do a long combo. More likely than not, the current meta is to do a setup where it's hard to escape. For Dante, he can do an ice freestand, and from there you could do a mix-up where he does a high and Hawkeye goes low, and on that hit he goes just about 2 meters, and then they're going to do super, super, and super, and that's it. The anti-counter switch is the current meta. You want to develop set play sequences that help you have anti-counter switch combos. Considering that we've talked a lot about specific characters and teams and how they work in the current meta, we also have to talk about the stones in the meta as well. There's 2 very dominant stones, Soul and Space. Those stones carry teams and possibly keep you from using your stone at point in times. Before, when we were talking about the meta of you have a team, but if you lose a character, then the team falls apart. With that being said, one stone in particular that does that exactly is Space. So the moment you get Space, and you see a character that is near death, around 50%.
Maybe right? A little bit less.
Activating the box is a great idea because you land the hit, cash on level 3. On the flip side, when you lose a character, now you're down. But Soulstone mitigates that by resurrecting the character. And once you resurrect the character, with the correct team composition, you could sandwich them, right? So a lot of really good Soul Stone teams have characters that can teleport. Going back to the meta, if the meta was for you to spend however many resources to kill a character, then if you were to do that for a Soul Stone player and they revive, now that's a bad situation. They're more than likely probably going to survive whatever incoming it is, and then they sandwich you, and if you get hit, you're gonna get cashed out into a level 3, you're gonna take a lot of damage. And on top of that, you won't have enough resources for the next hit, if you do get hit, to counter switch. Now the tables have turned where they have 2 characters and you only have 1. That's the 2 stones that play with the meta of the team mechanic.
I think it's a good time to talk about where it's gonna go in 2, 3, 1 years, however long. What's gonna be the next step? Going over Twitter and seeing specific players post their specific setups, a lot of it is becoming those same hard blockable setups, but without the hard blockable. A good example, let's say you're getting a combo with Ultron Dante and they tag. You're gonna expect them to tag, throw out a move, Thunderdome, they're gonna tag into it, so they're already gonna be blocking, whereas their other character is gonna be juggled. Then at that point, I'll continue the pressure, tag in a character, get the mix up on the point, and possibly kill both. Seeing certain tech videos, certain things that people are putting out, I personally think that's where it's going to go to next, and just keeping the pressure in. Even though they have the meter, they're forced to block whatever you put out.
As we are progressing in the meta, pretty obvious that Dante is a very huge part of where the meta is going. We're kind of in the transition phase. The whole point of Marvel is to future of the meta right now, and it's only being abused by it. In this game, when you get a happy birthday and you do a spike, which is the jumping heavy kick on knockdown, the point character will fall. There will be a ground bounce. However, the assist character will immediately land and leave. A few ways around that is to not use jumping heavy kick. You can either end the combo and do supers in the air, and then juggle it when they land. You want to have a combo where you keep the assist character in as long as possible. So you're milking that red health. But the problem is that for you to do that, eventually they're gonna leave. So players have now found, specifically Cyber Japan Agent, have found ways to juggle the assist character during specific combos. On top of that, he can end the combo, your point character is locked down, and your assist character is still out there, being juggled by whatever. And then he opens you up. And then the scary part comes. Because if he opens your point character up, it restarts.
This is gonna be one player game. We're playing God of War right now. It's one player right now. There's no multiplayer online features. It's just me and this combo.
Yeah, we're playing DMC right now. We're playing DMC 3, right? Dante is out there having fun. You are not interacting.
We've talked about everything. That's where we think the meta is at, where it's going. I think there's nothing much to talk about. Marks, any words to our beautiful fans out there?
All I gotta say is go out there and play some Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. And if you don't play Infinite, play any other Marvel vs. Capcom game. I'm really glad where I'm at right now. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is a very intricate game. It really is. And I think not a lot of people see that. And of course, there's been a lot of perceptions of the game and so, but I feel like the more often we have talks like this, the more people listen to some of the words that are being said. I think that will really open the eyes of the general audience when it comes to Marvel Infinite. I'm just happy to be here talking about Marvel.
So all in all, guys, that is going to be it for today's video. I'm glad that you guys tuned in throughout. I know it's a little bit longer. I do appreciate you. But I definitely want you guys to check out this beautiful young man right here. Let them know where they could find you at.
You guys could find me on Twitter at NinjaNom15. I do tweet a lot of fighting game stuff and retweet memes, kind of. I also stream, not on the regular, somewhat on and off. And that is also at twitch.tv/NinjaNom15.
Your Pornhub account?
Long Wong Dong. Long Wong Dong 15.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. But until next time, my name is Wenster. This is The Average Fighter, and
I'm Ninja Nom.
Thank you for tuning in, guys.